How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I learned that I made a mistake, and I'm gonna have to take out my Lamborghini's engine again. So for those of you new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like what you see. Subscribe if this does it for you. Definitely doesn't for me. This is my 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. It is in lots and lots of pieces, basically like a Lego set that you throw on the floor with more grease and sharp edges. Today we're actually doing a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. Now, I took out the fuel tanks in a previous episode in order for me to check out everything in the tank and make sure that the heat shields were properly shielded against that heat from the massive 5-liter V10 engine. However, when I put everything back in the fuel tank and I posted something on Twitter about how I mounted the fuel pumps, some people expressed some concern about what I did. Now, I do think I need to elaborate just a little bit. The fuel pumps on this car, there are 2 of them. They are aftermarket fuel pumps. They are TI Automotive. I think that's the parent company of Walbro. They're 450 LPH, which is liters per hour, and they're good to make a lot of power on this engine, especially with the twin turbo kit. However, when they were installed by the previous shop, they were installed on basically what is just a hose clamp. And I thought that was wrong. I didn't want them to be just mounted to the hose clamp directly to the hanger. And I did what I usually do, which is backyard or front yard or garage engineering. And I cut a coolant hose down the middle, and I just used that as a rubber isolator to make sure that all the vibrations and everything wouldn't have the metal-to-metal contact. Basically, I didn't want anything wearing any grooves into that fuel pump, and I didn't want the fuel pump to fall off or whatever. After I put that post on Twitter, you guys, well, a lot of you guys said, oh, this is cool, that's really interesting. The fact that I would do something like this, basically get a coolant hose from the floor and then just put it into the gas tank of what is potentially a 1,000 horsepower Lamborghini. Some people expressed concern saying that coolant hose is actually not rated for fuel, and that is correct. Coolant hose isn't rated for fuel. The rubber starts to degrade, and especially with the E85 in that tank, I have no idea how old it is, and I have no idea how corrosive it is. I assume it's a lot. The E85 is gonna wear that thing down pretty quickly. So that creates a lot of gunk, and that gets sucked up by the filter, and that goes into the injectors, and that'll give me all sorts of problems. So today, I'm going to undo my own mistake. I'm gonna put back the original how I got the car setup, which is just a hard mount. Apparently it should be fine. A lot of people are running it like this. You guys can let me know in the comments if this is okay or not. I think I'm just gonna run what I brung on that. I'm gonna take out the engine, I'm gonna take out the fuel tanks, I'm gonna take out the fuel pumps, and I'm gonna take out that little modification that I did that probably shouldn't be in there. But this isn't just a backtracking episode. No. I don't wanna just leave you guys like that. So when we put the engine back in, which should be relatively soon, I don't think this is gonna take a long time. When we put the engine back in, I'm gonna show you guys some cool things, and I want you guys to stay around till the end of this episode, or you can skip to the end of the episode, but don't do that. I mean, you know, we're all friends here, you know? All right, so we got the fuel tank apart, and this is the culprit. Now, as you can see, that coolant tube that I used already ballooned out, and it's only been about a day. So it's good that we did this, because this would have started just degrading over no time at all. I mean, this is not the way I put it in there. You can see it's just crazy bowing out. This is just a regular hose clamp. A lot of people do use these things for holding on fuel pumps, but I just didn't really want to use this for this application. But I think since it was already in there, I think it's fine. This is definitely not OEM, by the way. OEM would have a little mount on the bottom, but since we don't have that, it looks like it was dremeled off or removed at some point. This is the only thing we have left to use. Also, this fuel hose, it looks like it's fine. It's not ballooning out at all, even though I would like to change these clamps, but I don't have any at the moment. The reason why you don't want to really use hose clamps all that much inside a fuel tank is because these, after a while, they do start to look like this. They start to balloon out. They start to, well, they start to lose a little bit of their firmness. When that happens, you want the clamping pressure to stay constant. And with these worm ring clamps, these hose clamps, they don't really, that doesn't happen. So you have to continually keep tightening them, just little by little. So yeah, that's not the best situation, but it's something that I can deal with. I'll just crank these down pretty good, and that should be okay for now. So yeah, I just have to take this apart and yeah, take off this little rubber dealie here, and then do the same thing for the other side, and then we can finally put this thing back together. Okay, so that actually didn't take that long, and we have everything situated exactly where it needs to go, and that gold foil wrap is on there. But I told you guys that I want you guys to see a few more things rather than me just taking out the engine and putting it back in. So a few of you, actually more than a few of you, told me that I should do the heat shield for the firewall in the gold wrap, in the DEI wrap, this reflect the gold stuff. And honestly, I didn't think I had enough. But since the engine is out, I might as well do it. I mean, I have 2 extra rolls and some other stuff that I didn't use from the last one. So I think we could probably get this done just to make it look a little more McLaren-y, a little more McLaren F1-y. But this actually is going to be hidden because when I put the engine in and everything's buttoned up, there's actually going to be a tray here for the removable top. But you guys will know that it's here, and it'll look pretty cool when everything is off. So I might as well do it. Plus, it'll help me remove some heat from the interior. I'm not sure how much, but it should help a little bit. So I'm just gonna clean this up. I'll put some gold wrap, and then we'll put the engine in. But I still have one little surprise for you. It's not really a surprise, but it's just a little cool thing that I wanted to share with you guys, and that's after I put in the engine. Well, would you look at that? That looks way better. It looks mighty snazzy, and it's a little bit more functional as well. So now that we got everything here covered with the gold, reflect the gold wrap, now we can actually put the engine back in. So that's gonna be fun, just because it's a really wide engine and the space is not exactly, well, it's definitely suited for the engine, but only just. So I think it's time to get a little more dirty and put this engine back in its home. All right, the engine is in, and this gold wrap is looking really good. Now, I did do a lot of the stuff off camera because I don't think you guys want to see the really finicky bits of lining up the engine mount bolts, because these things need to be 100% on. Right now, I wanted to show you something really special. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have seen something like this before. Maybe you have. I certainly never have. What I'm talking about is what happens when you take off this intake plenum. So I've always been curious as to how these engines look underneath their covers and sort of how they work. I'm really curious. But this thing should look pretty cool because it has these cool velocity stacks, and it has dual plane runners, meaning that it switches over at a higher RPM. Sort of like a VTEC on a Lambo, sort of, kind of, not really, but I want to take these off because in the next episode, I'm going to be cleaning up the engine bay. One of the components of cleaning that up is to refinish these. But I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek since we basically repeated a bunch of the work that we did in some of the previous episodes. So I wanted to give you something a little bit fresh and something really interesting. So let me get this off. Now this is an engine bay. I'm gonna answer a question right now that a lot of you are having. No, I'm not gonna leave this like this. One, because I would introduce a lot of particulates and debris into my engine, and two, there's no way to get the boost in there. So this is gonna have to get covered up. But it looks pretty cool right now, and I'm glad that you guys can see it. So these are short and long runners. The long runners open up at higher RPMs to give better torque and better responsiveness, and the short runners are for lower RPM. Or vice versa, I can't remember. I have been inhaling a lot of exhaust fumes. But this has been modified from stock a little bit because there's supposed to be a long butterfly going through the long runners here. And that's supposed to open up at a certain RPM. This is just open. It's just 100% open all the time. So I'm guessing that's because the turbo system, when they did the engine build, they left this open so it can have maximum turbo boost at all RPMs, which is really, really good. I also wanted to make sure that there was no weird sludge around here if we had oil backing up into the intake, but it doesn't seem like anything is an issue here. It's all pretty clean. And I really do like the fact that these are polished runners. They're very well done. And in the next episode, I'm gonna be cleaning up this engine. Now, it looks pretty good with the gold wrap here and these exposed velocity stacks here, but this engine is gonna look really, really good next episode. Or at least that's the idea. I don't wanna promise anything to you guys because we know what happened with this. I mean, I said I would be doing one thing and I ended up pulling the engine just because I made a mistake. So this is gonna be the project for the next episode, but I hope you guys stay tuned and I hope you guys like this episode and I hope you guys learned something because I certainly did. So that is it for today's episode. Hope you guys liked it. I really, really love working on this car. It's actually not that hard. It is time consuming, it is dirty. Sometimes things are a little bit finicky, but as far as an Audi or Volkswagen product, this thing is really, really very forgiving. So if any of you have a Lamborghini dream of yours, go ahead. It's really, really DIY friendly. If you want to contact me, you can do so at The Real Tavarish. That's Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. I read every single one of your emails, and I have gotten a lot of emails from you guys in the last few weeks, especially after I got this car. You guys have been really good at giving me tips and tricks and comments and whatnot. Thank you so much to everybody. If you'd like to purchase one of these shirts and tell everyone that you are the warranty, just like I'm the warranty of this car, then you can do so in my Teespring store down below. But until next time, this is me, Tavarish, telling you that on cars like this that have awesome, awesome exposed runners and some gold leaf and some real race car look about it, you guys need to wrench every day.